Hello, and welcome to What's Your Story. We're so glad to have you with us again today, and we have a wonderful guest for you. Her name is Lauren Penny, and she is a monetization and event expert. She is the CEO and founder of Branched Out, and she works with women coaches and service providers earning multiple 6 and 7 figures with a repeatable sales strategy using in-person events to bring authority, profit, and impact. She is an international speaker, the chair of Major Events Business Group in Queensland, Australia. She is the mother of 2 girls and has traveled to over 50 countries and is passionate about helping educate girls in Sri Lanka. So, welcome, Lauren Penny. Hi, Lauren.
Hello, it was wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. It's just wonderful now that technology allows us to have guests from around the world. It's absolutely fabulous. So,
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, I know. It's wonderful. So, Lauren, I have so many questions to ask you, because you have a world of experience here. It says that you've planned and executed mega events around the world, such as Olympic Games in London, a Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, Australian Tennis Grand Slam, Australian Super Yacht Rendezvous, and so much more. And that you own and operate 2 businesses. How do you do all this and have children too? You must be the busiest person in the world.
Well, it's funny that you say that, Judy, because honestly, I just love what I do. I love the life that we've created, and I love the impact that we can have. And as you said, with the power of technology, we really can, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. And it's just about now looking at those priorities and what drives you, what gets you out of bed, that's excited for you to be able to work and contribute to this world in a way that then, you really can leave a legacy and make an impact and create a pathway for, as you mentioned, I do have 2 young daughters. So, setting the pathway for them for their future as well.
Yes. So you are a superwoman when it comes to sponsorships and getting sponsorships for events and things. We want to know about that. We want to know how you do that. How do you approach someone and say, you need to be a sponsor for my event?
Oh, look, that's a really great question. The fundamental aspect is when you are approaching sponsors, it's about looking at, well, what we really want this to be a win-win-win situation. It's not just around tapping somebody on their shoulder to say, hey, can you please spend some money on our event? Really, it's around creating a purpose and connecting the audience with the sponsor and the event host. So it's around really it's kind of like a matchmaking service in that you really want to enable the sponsor to have visibility, exposure, get to know this audience that the business host has curated. And so then the sponsor is able to showcase their products, their services, get to know them. I'm always around, we're not just a logo. Businesses are much more than a logo. We want to know about you. What's your values? What's your mission? What gets you up out of bed? What impact do you want to make in this world? How can we connect? And through speech, through sharing what the businesses are around, that's when the audience of the business host can connect with the sponsor. And then possibly there may be a new relationship there, or there might be a deepened of a relationship because of the network that they're currently in. So for me, the way that we work is that we always look at connecting the business host primarily with the sponsor, and always looking that they have the same target market, offering a different product and service, and how can they share that information in a really holistic, natural way so that everyone has that real win-win. And the attendees, fantastic, they get an opportunity to learn more around this new company, around their product, their service, around their business owners, around their management team, and so on. So I love that connection piece.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. What inspired you to create Branched Out?
Well, Branched Out came about, as you've mentioned, I have worked on the mega events from around the world. And I started this at the very early age from coming out of university. And as much as it is brilliant and phenomenal to be working on a mega event and really enable a spotlight to be placed on that country so that the world can see. And it's extraordinary to go through this journey. What I realized in my journey is that along the way, I realized that there are these incredible business owners that want to make an impact, that there are incredible business owners that are driving their business and that can really make a change in whichever their service or product is. And so through my journey, I transitioned and I took the information that I've learned from the mega event space, and I've now tailored this to business hosts. So that's where then the business hosts we can curate, we can host, we can produce an event for them at a world-class level and really bring everyone together so that they feel confident, they feel empowered, they know that they can go up on stage knowing that everything is under control behind the scenes. And so that's where Branched Out originated from. And it's really around, because I also believe that you as an individual, you as a person, you can really create an impact and have it all. You can create the lifestyle. So as businesses, I want to be able to enable that pathway so that they can make an impact. They can run events. They can run an event globally. They can run an event virtually. And they can do so really at ease, as well as making an extraordinary impact and bringing in additional revenue to their business.
And how did your personal journey shape the vision and the mission of the company?
The personal mission really come about because, look, I do believe that as women, we can really orchestrate and design our life, and we can run a business, we can develop a team and mentor a team, and we can also have an extraordinary family. I have a phenomenal partner, and we have an incredible life with our 2 daughters. My youngest is only 8 months old.
Oh my goodness, that's a baby.
And that's so little baby. She's just a little baby, and you know, we can really make that impact. And I'm so driven to be able to work with heart-led entrepreneurs, because honestly, Judy, it really breaks my heart when I know that a business owner is struggling when they're running their events, because it is stressful. It is quite a task because everything comes together on the day. Mm-hmm. And that's where, personally, because I've worked in the mega event space, well, for an event, you do need to have everything organized and curated in a way. And so it's quite magical when you're working in such an environment, because you can create that impact. And so personally, I love to be able to facilitate this with heart-led entrepreneurs to really enable them to have their message. And through us working together, then we're curating an experience for attendees, for speakers, for sponsors. And I know that ultimately those hosts, they're making an impact with their audience. Mm-hmm. They're educating, they're upskilling, they're informing. So everyone, there's a real ripple effect. And so personally, that's what motivates me, to really have that co-creation with the business owner and empower them to spread their message and to make that impact.
Yes. And it's amazing to me how many of the people in the world, entrepreneurs, people like me, who we just jump into something and say, okay, I'm going to do it. And we don't have a clue what we're doing. And we just jump in there and we start. And then we have to find someone like you, because otherwise we're up a creek. You know, it's like, oh, what do we do now? Right. So we need an expert. So will you share some stories or some milestones that Branched Out has achieved since its creation?
Yes, certainly. So since its creation, we've been able to have a phenomenal opportunity to work with business leaders and really take their events to the next level. So we've worked with business owners where they've been hosting events, and now, as you've said, you know, the event's grown, and so now it's requiring an up level. And so by working with us, we've been able to now bring in 6 figures of revenue. We've been able to sell out and curate ticketing inclusion so that they sell out within the first month. And these are huge milestones in terms of bringing in that revenue and having the momentum of the event from the event launch, as well as business owners that have never hosted an event before. Well, we're able to take them along the journey and take them along the journey in the right way from the start. And then they can also, when we're talking about sponsorships, for example, bring in 30,000, for example, of sponsorships for their first time event. And that's through really curating what this event is about, who is it for, what are the values, what is the mission, and then looking at associated companies that also share this vision. And so those most milestones have been extraordinary for us because we are only a few years old in terms of Branched Out's creation. And then through this as well, of course, hiring phenomenal team members. By hiring team members, we can execute quick, we can execute fast, and we can really bring all of those minds together to be able to, you know, host those 6-figure events and also bring in peace of mind on event day. I love when I see an event hosting an event and she is calm, she is confident, and she is ready to take that stage in all her ability, and she's not running around thinking, oh, where's this or where's that. So it's really about that impact that we can have.
Right. And you take a lot of the burden off of her, so it makes it less stressful for her. Yes.
Lots of burden and also lots of hours of time spent.
Yeah, I know. I've been in the event business. It's a big job. It's a very big job. So what motivates you on a daily basis, both personally and professionally?
Well, I think it really comes to having an impact. It's around creating the change and creating a lifestyle for business leaders. It's around the ability to use my skill set, my experiences, to really enable another heart-led entrepreneur to have to feel confident and empowered in their event, and knowing that they are now in front of their 100, 1,000 attendees because of that impact. And so personally, because I know that we can do that because of the ripple effect, because I know their message on who we're partnering with as such, because I know that they are educating, informing, and upskilling. So that's really a key driver, as well of course, my family, in terms of creating the business, the impact, and really demonstrating to my family, to my children, that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So that's a real driver. There is no barriers to that. If there's a challenge, you look at, okay, well, how can I make this work? What can we do differently here? How can we improve this? And so that's a real key driver in terms of helping the business leaders in what we do.
Who taught you that? Who taught you that you can have anything if you're willing to work hard?
I think it would be my parents. I think it would also be just really driving and personally developing. I really invest a lot in my own personal development. And, you know, my mother, when I was in school, said to me, Lauren, you know, do something in work that you love doing so you never feel like you're working. And that simple comment, this simple statement really has embedded a lot into me, into what I do, because I love what I do. And so it doesn't feel like work, you know. And I really do. I think we're here to live. Like, hey, we might do something and something might not work out the way that we want it to, but that's only an outcome. We can learn from that outcome. It might not have been the desired outcome, but we can know, okay, what can we do? What can we improve? What can we tweak? How can we do this in another way the next time?
Right, right. And what can I learn from this?
Yeah, what can I learn? How can I improve? What can I tweak? It's not a failure. Nothing is a failure. It's all just a result. It just might not have been the desired result that you had thought of at the very beginning of this execution of this action.
Right. So what challenges have you faced while growing your business, and how have you overcome these obstacles?
Well, goodness, I think being in business, if we don't have challenges, well,
Every day is a challenge, right?
Who doesn't? Yeah, now it's about how, again, now we can be confronted with a challenge. How do we now confront this? As an example, during the pandemic, now, as we mentioned, there are two businesses. So my first business is also an events business. We service a different market. Now, through this, we were a thriving business prior to the pandemic. And we had a number of team members and phenomenal contracts, both nationally and also internationally. And then the pandemic took the business, as well as all events across the world. It was the number one industry across the world that was impacted. Yes. Global travel and obviously in person. So that was a phenomenal thing because I've grown this business and then all of a sudden now it completely flatlined. So that was a real challenge. And I really needed to dig deep and understand, okay, what can we do to now come through this and pivot? And so now Branched Out has been created through this. So now I actually look back in hindsight and go, well, was it a challenge? Or was it actually an opportunity? Because now I'm back stronger than ever. I've built stronger resilience muscles, skill sets to be able to overcome challenges and really know what that impact is that I want to have in terms of who we work with.
Yes.
So there are always challenges. Every what do they say? New level, new devil. There's always a challenge, and I always confront it by looking at what is the challenge, what information do we know, how can we make a decision, let's execute, and then we can review. And we always just got to know that we execute based on the knowledge that we have at that time.
Yes, yes. Boys, life can throw us some curveballs, can't it? That pandemic was a killer for so many of the people I know and for their businesses, and for me it was as well. My training business was just flatlined, like you say, and yet you know what? I learned how to do things online, and now I'm doing a lot of online things that I never ever dreamed I would be doing. So you know, while it did one thing, it buried it. It also opened up the opportunity for growth. So it was just amazing, amazing. So what tips would you like to share with our audience who want to up-level in their event hosting?
Okay, well, I think the key tips here is if you are creating an event, I strongly recommend that you sit in the strategy stage for a period of time so that you know what are your tickets, what are your inclusions, who is this event for, what are the benefits to your attendees, what's going to attract them to come to your event, what are they going to learn from at your event, ultimately what's in it for them. So what I see is a lot of business hosts can start running event and release the date and start selling tickets, but because they may not sat in the strategy piece, well, let's look at the budget. What are those income streams? What are those expenses? So that the host is making informed decisions. And I really believe that when you set the vision at the very beginning, what does the event look like? What does it feel like? What do we want? What do we want attendees to say the following day after they've attended the event? What are the words that we want them to say? What's the experience that we want to curate? When you sit in that strategy piece at the very beginning, It enables you to have a journey and make those decisions along the way, and also very informed. That's probably that's one of my key tips. The other tips would be to hire an event team in terms of, let's do it right from the start. Let's go through the journey, go through the project mapping, so that really you have the confidence to be able to continue on the journey. And so they're my number key tips: strategy, hire a talented team, and have the lead time. Give yourself time to be able to run the event, to be able to sell tickets, to be able to organize. And probably the key thing is communicate to your attendees, communicate to your sponsors, communicate to your speakers, so that everybody knows what it's going to look like on event day. And on that day, everyone knows exactly what's going to happen. No one's running around worried or stressed. They all know that, yes, at 10 o'clock, I'll be speaking on stage. By 9 o'clock, I need to be in the AV room being mic'd up. So having that planning means that on the production day, it's like the iceberg effect. Lots of people, when you attend events, see the tip of the iceberg, and that very small tip of the iceberg. It actually meant that there was a magnitude of planning and involvement below the service that enabled that top of the tip of the iceberg to be seen, to be experienced, to be felt on event day.
That's very good advice. Very good
Excellent
advice. And I think the planning stage is one that a lot of people miss. I think that when we're putting together events, we just think it's going to happen, and we don't actually visualize the way it's exactly going to be on that day. Would you say that's true?
I would say that's 100%. And I think that's where that brings the stress. And that's what I want to be able to alleviate. Because primarily around a month out, or even like a week out, that's when all the questions start asking. Speakers, sponsors, attendees start asking all the questions. Now, as the event host, if you haven't gone through some of that planning and you're just handling 100 phone calls, 100 emails, it's causing stress and strain. So that's where we work, because we want to be able to curate that experience for those groups, as well as enable for the event host to be working on their presentation, working on their speech. They need to be spending this time to be able to know and be confident in what they're delivering. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where the misconception is in terms of that tip of the iceberg, because on the day, attendees see the final output, but it's actually because the team have worked below the service. Yes. In the multitude. And that's happened definitely. I've experienced when we worked for a government agency, and at the end of the event, they all huddled at the end and said, that was phenomenal. That all worked like clockwork. And I just stood there smiling internally, knowing that's because we had curated every step. Speakers knew where they were walking in, walking out from the stage. Everything did run like clockwork because of the planning beforehand.
Right. That's so very important. Now, you won an award. In fact, both of your businesses were finalists for the BEAM Awards. What are the BEAM Awards?
Yes, the BEAM Awards are an awards in Australia celebrating small business owners, and it's Australia-wide. And for the two awards in this case, this was in 2023. So for Inner Pulse, we were in the finalist category for resilience leadership, and that was through the pandemic, the journey that I took the business through the pandemic. And then the second, which is branched out, was the finalist in the emerging business category, because of the impact that we've been able to have with business owners in its early stages, around hosting events, the income, the revenue, the peace of mind, and also some global events that we ran and curating that experience. So I was very honoured that both businesses reached the finalist in the Beam Awards.
Oh, I would think so. I would think you should be very proud. Now, you also spoke recently with the Women Thrive Summit, and your topic was sponsorships unlocked, the secret revenue stream to your events. Wow, that sounds like it was an amazing speech.
It really was. I believe that there is, this business owners are unintentionally leaving money on the table, because when we uncover invisible revenue, you have the event, you have the assets. It's now just about understanding and putting a strategy in place in terms of how can we now create that win-win-win experience. And so I spoke into what is the invisible revenue, how can business owners start to look at their own business and what opportunities this may present, and ultimately how can then they benefit their time being able to approach sponsors and really be able to know and have confidence who do they approach and how do they approach, and so that they can create those experiences, revenue, or a cash in kind partnership.
Absolutely amazing. Do you know, I cannot believe how fast this time went with you. We just started and now it's time for us to quit. And I'm like, what? I'm not through asking questions. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I really, really appreciate it. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish I had asked you, or any additional things you would like to share that I didn't cover for you?
I think we've covered everything, Judy. Thank you so much. I hope this has been beneficial to your audience. For those listening, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I know that that you're meant for more. I think it's around coming into you're meant for more. If you have an idea, run with it, create it. Anything is possible. And so absolutely phenomenal. And if you do want to reach out, I can see that that the website is here on the screen, and please reach out and we can connect.
Yes, I'm sure that many of our people watching will want to reach out to you. It's just been a fabulous interview, and I hope you'll come back and be on the show again sometime soon.
Would love to. Thank you. It was absolutely honor to be here.
You had to get up at the crack of dawn, but we'll make it happen a different time or something. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And thank you for attending and being a part of our show. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And I know that you learn something every day from these fabulous entrepreneurs that we have on the show. And if you have a story that you'd like to share, just contact me, Judy Morio, here at WWDB TV in Las Vegas.